Today we will go through about the viscosity and the Stokes law. So at first we will know what is viscosity, and then we will go through the effect of the temperature on this viscosity, and then what is Stokes law, and finally we will learn about the terminal velocity. In day-to-day purposes we are using many type of liquids like water and honey, and these are the two I am mentioning because this is quite different, significantly different. Because when we use the water, we can see that whenever we pour the water in any container, it actually readily takes the shape of that container. But to pour the honey from another container to any other thing is really time taking. So this is because the water is a very less viscous. So it instantly regaining the shape of any container which you are pouring. But in case of honey, which is more viscous, takes much more longer to adapt the container volume. And what is the driving factor? It's actually the viscosity. So in case of definition, you know what is viscosity? The property of fluid by virtue of which it actually opposes the relative motion between its different layer is called the viscosity of the fluid. And the force which actually opposes that relative motion is called viscous force. Now, I am giving an explanation that what is happening when the water or any liquid or any fluid is flowing through a pipe. Acting that any liquid going through out of the pipe with some force. But what is happening inside the pipe is actually there is some relative motion between the layers, between different layers of that liquid. So let us consider the liquid is now water. So water is flowing through the pipe. But what is happening that the different layer has different type of velocity, and I am mentioning the different layer like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The layer which is actually adjacent to the wall of the container almost remains static. We are assuming that. Okay. But what is happening that with increasing distance from the wall, the velocity of that very layer like 2, 3, 4, the velocity of these layers actually increases gradually. With increasing distance, the velocity actually increases. It reaches maximum value at the middle of the container. Okay. So, in case of this figure, you can see that the velocity of the one is very, very less because it's actually the adjacent to the walls, and which is actually exactly adjacent to the walls, the velocity remains 0. So 1 is very less velocity, and then it is gradually increases for the 2, 3 and 4 layers. For the number 4 layer, it's actually the maximum velocity because it's the middle of the container. And then getting adjacent to the other side of the wall, it's actually the velocity decreases. So there is a velocity gradient. Like if we consider that number 2 has the velocity small v, and number 3 layer has the velocity v plus dv. dv is the small change in velocity which is greater than layer 2. Now if we consider the distance between 2 and 3 layer is dx, this is very small distance we are considering. So dx. So what is the velocity gradient? It's actually v plus dv minus v by dx, which is equal to dv dx. Now we come to the Newton's formula for this viscous force. The viscous force which actually opposes the relative motion, the force which actually opposes the relative motion of the different layers of the liquid. Due to the viscosity of the liquid, an opposing force acts between the two layers of the fluid, and this opposing force actually tries to slow down the relative motion of the layers. If this opposing force is F, then we are considering only the streamline motion of the liquid. From Newton proved that the force is actually proportional to the area of the cross section of the fluid surface or the liquid surface. And it's also proportional to the velocity gradient which we have discussed in earlier time. So F is proportional to capital A, which is the area, and F is also proportional to the dv dx, which is the velocity gradient. So combining these two terms, F equals the proportional to A into dV dx, or A equal to minus eta A into dV dx, where eta is a proportionality constant and the negative sign is actually coming because the force actually opposes the relative motion. Okay. This proportional constant eta is known as coefficient of viscosity. Its value actually depends on the nature of the liquid, and the above expression, which we are writing as A equal to minus eta capital A into dV dx, is known as Newton's formula for the viscous force. Now we viscous force, which is coming as F equal to minus eta into A into dV dx. Now we know about the new thing, that's the coefficient of viscosity. So what is the definition? The coefficient of viscosity of a fluid is defined by the tangential force required per unit area, means capital A equal to 1, to maintain unit velocity gradient, that is dV dx is equal to 1 between the layers of the fluid. So what is the definition? Eta equal to F by capital A into dV dx, whereas the dimension of the eta is, if we put the dimension of force as well as area as well as velocity gradient, we came that the dimension of the eta equal to m L inverse t to the power minus 1. So what is the unit of eta? You can clearly see that the eta equal to Newton into second per meter square. It is also called Poiseuille or decapoise. In CGS system, that is actually defined by dyne into second per centimeter square. It is called as poise. So now effect of temperature on viscosity. So what is actually happening when we change the temperature of any liquid? What is the effect on its viscosity property? Experimentally, it is found that the viscosity of the liquids decreases with rising temperature, and the variation is quite different than for the different liquid. Now, on the other hand, it can be shown from the kinetic theory of the gases that the viscosity of the gases increases with increase in temperature, and which is actually given by the formulation eta proportional to the root over of temperature. When we increase the temperature for the liquid, the viscosity actually decreases, but in case of gases, from the kinetic theory, we can see that the viscosity property or the coefficient of viscosity actually proportional to the root over of temperature. So now we are learning about the Stokes law. So here we can see the two figures in which a cyclist is cycling and another person is trying to move around a huge box. So you can see when we are doing the cycling or moving any object through the floor, there is some opposing forces acting on. For both of this motion, we are facing a drag force acting opposite to our direction of motion. For complex structure, this calculation of this drag force is actually not easy. So in 1851, George Gabriel Stokes derived an expression which is now known as a renowned Stokes law for the frictional force, also called the drag force, which is exerted on spherical objects in a viscous fluid. So what is happening here? That when a solid body moves through a fluid, that is liquid and gas, the fluid layer in contact with the body is dragged by it. As a result, relative velocities between different layers of the liquid are established, and hence a viscous force starts acting on the body opposite to its direction of the motion of the force. The expression for the viscous force can be obtained by dimensional homogeneity and dimensional analysis in the following way. Let us consider the spherical body moving through the fluid. The fluid is assumed to be infinitely extended in all directions. This is a very good approximation because the fluid is assumed to be infinitely extended in all directions. Now, the viscous force Fv acting on the body depends upon the velocity of the body, the radius of the body, the coefficient of viscosity of the fluid, eta, and we know that this coefficient of viscosity of the fluid is actually different for the different liquid. Now, the expression for this viscous force can be obtained by the dimensional analysis. So what is happening? That we are writing down that fv is equal to k v to the power a, r to the power b and eta to the power c, where v is the velocity of the body, r is the radius of the body and eta is the viscous coefficient or the viscosity coefficient or coefficient of viscosity of the liquid, where k is a dimensionless proportionality constant. Now according to the principle of the dimensional homogeneity, we can write that down in terms of basic units, and equating the powers of m, l and capital T, we can get that f equal to k eta into r into v, and by doing the calculations we can get that k equal to 6. So the famous Stokes law is given by f equal to 6 pi eta r v. Now we have what is terminal velocity. So let us suppose that a spherical body starts moving through a fluid in the vertically downward direction. Initially, at the time of release, following two forces of constant magnitudes acts on the body. The weight of the body acting vertically downward, the buoyant force acting vertically upward. As the weight of the body is greater than the buoyant force, what is happening? The body starts moving downward with acceleration, and hence viscous force starts acting on the body, because already we know from the Stokes law that when the body starts moving, then there is a viscous force which is due to the motion of the body within that liquid. So as the velocity of the body increases, the viscous force also increases. At one stage, the total upward force, which is Fb plus Fv, that Fv is the viscous force, Fb is the buoyant force, it's actually equal in magnitude to the weight of the body. The net force then becomes 0 and the body then continues to fall with constant velocity. That constant velocity is actually called the terminal velocity. So we know that when the net force on any body is equal to 0, what is happening? The velocity remains constant. So that constant velocity is actually defined by the terminal velocity. Now, in case of terminal expression of the terminal velocity, here we are considering that the radius of the spherical body is equal to small r, and rho is the density of the material of the body, sigma is the density of the fluid, whereas eta is the coefficient of the viscosity of the fluid, and small v is the terminal velocity of the body. Then what happened? That the upward force is actually equals of the weight of the body. So Fb plus Fv equal to W, or 4 by 3 pi r cube sigma into g plus 6 pi eta rv, which is actually coming from the Stokes law, is equal to 4 by 3 pi r cube rho into g, or v equal to, if we just simplify all those things, v equal to 2 by 9 eta into r square rho minus sigma into g. This is the expression for the terminal velocity. And now here are some questions of the multiple choice question I have given here, and you can do by simplifying all those, by doing all those exercises, and the answer as well as the explanation has been given. So you can go through that, and I think this will be really easy to understand.